folks, and welcome to the Daily Coin. And my name is Rory, and I have on the line Mr. Dale Olmstead of Precious Metals Bullion and Vault. And Dale, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
And Dale is he's a jeweler who's turned bullion dealer. And how did that transition come about, Dale?
Well, that's a great question. And a few of my affluent clients came to me about 05, 06, and I've been studying the markets from 01, 02 because when the metals, I refer to them as a group, all the four precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Started moving up. I watched gold go from $250 to $500, and I said, whoa, my product price doubled, but my income didn't. Why not? What happened? So I became a student in 01, 02. And then 05, 06, a few of my affluent clients, like I just mentioned, came to me and said, well, Dale, you buy metals. How do I do it? And I said, well, you call a bullion dealer. Tell you what, guys, I'll call all the dealers that I know of in the local area, my refiner, a couple different mints that I know, and we'll get you the most metal for your money. And so 05, 06 is when I became a bullion dealer.
Sounds like a natural transition to me.
Oh, yeah, it worked out really smoothly.
If I want to get involved with what you're doing right now, how would I go about doing that? And is there more to it than just the buying and selling of gold and silver and platinum and palladium?
Yeah, absolutely. And how that came, we've been able to develop and implement a unique precious metal access debit card. And how that works is, after I started selling all this metal for a couple, 2-3 years, a few of my clients kept coming back saying, well, Dale, I need to go buy a loaf of bread. How do I do it with my metal? I said, well, you bring it back to me, get it from your secure location, you bring it to a dealer, whether it's me or someone else. We give you the funds, you go deposit it to your bank, and you distribute it however you see fit. And so I got thinking about that. And in my due diligence and study of the markets, I started attending a couple different seminars and things like that. One here locally was called the Silver Summit in Spokane, Washington. And one of the gentlemen from Stage that I've been gleaning a lot of good information from and getting to know through the internet was a gentleman named David Morgan. And he mentioned that someday some guy's going to come along and offer you a debit card. When you use that debit card, he's going to sell just enough metal to pay for the debit. And so I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I went up afterwards and spoke with him about it. And he really didn't have any information on how to do it, because a few people have tried it and never really succeeded at doing it. And so I kind of went away with my head hung low thinking, well, I guess that's into that. And man, something kept gnawing at me going, well, how do you get a debit card? Well, you go to a bank. That's really the only place to do it. So I interviewed Chase, I interviewed Bank of America in their commercial departments, and wound up starting with Chase, but it took them like 4 to 6 weeks to get a debit card printed out. And I go, man, that's just too long. There's got to be better. There's newer technology out there that should be able to do something a little bit quicker. And I happened to get a flyer in the mail from one of the banks, local banks, opening a new branch here in Spokane. And what they had was pretty amazing. They can issue a debit card on the spot, and so it eliminated all that time.
Wow!
And it made it very smooth way of getting people to be able to sign up for a free checking account. That way, there's no added fees. And
you have a precious metals backed debit card as well as being a bullion dealer.
Yes, correct.
So if I just go and set up an account, so can I go to my account? I mean, can I go to my bank, my local bank here in Tennessee, and set up an account, have them issue me a debit card, and then contact you? I mean, how does that work? I mean, as far as if I want to get involved and I want to have a precious metals backed debit card to where I can actually spend my silver and gold and platinum and palladium, how would I do that?
Well, you could do it on your own. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's doing the same thing as going to your secure location, getting the money and putting it in the bank. That's how you would do it for yourself. It's basically doing it the traditional way. what I'm offering for people and also other dealers, I'm looking at two avenues of business here, and that would be to help other dealers establish this for their clientele, and then also for my clientele, being able to offer this for them so they don't have to go and deal with, finding a dealer or getting the dealer to sell to, take that money and put it back in the bank. We take that all into our umbrella, our LLC, and that way we are able to significantly separate or segregate everything. That way it doesn't ever commingle with someone else's holdings, and it's also the only way that we can, keep everything, I call clean and pristine, above board, transparent. We try to stay away from all these other things that are, causing problems today.
If I wanted to utilize your service, I would I would imagine I would have to open up an account with you. And
yes.
Then would I ship my metals to you, or could I buy them from you, or?
Well, we have three options there, and you pretty much touched on all of them.
Okay.
You can either purchase metals from us. You can leave cash in your account because it is a checking account with your name on it, segregated. So there's no, like I mentioned, no commingling there. And then also your personal precious metals upon subject of approval, because we got to make sure that we can sell them back into the market when you start using your debit card without any, authenticity issues and discounts for having to do a refining or assay or something to that nature. So yeah, we use notable minted goods, but that can be, pre-approved over the phone. If you just let me know what you got, or through an email or something like that, then yeah. So you can use your own metals, your fiat currency, or your purchase metals from us.
Okay. You may not like this question. And why would I want to use my precious metals while people are still accepting worthless dollars?
That's a great question. I really strongly believe in our Constitution. Right now, we're part of a United States of America corporation, and we really need to get back to our constitutional republic. According to our Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, we are to only use gold and silver as money. Well, if you're using the Federal Reserve notes, you're actually committing fraud. And David Morgan goes into a brief explanation of this, kind of, sarcastically and making it funny, but if you really delve into it, that's exactly what we're doing when we use the Federal Reserve notes.
Yeah.
So if you really want to be an American patriot, I'd really encourage you, do as much as you possibly can with physical metals. I've been doing it now for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, and the first year I did it, granted, if you look at the software that we developed, we keep track of your capital gain, capital loss. I actually lost $1,500 of purchasing power that first year, because the metal prices went from $30 to $20. And so I bought, quite a bit of metal at 30, and have been using it. But Rory, I just got to the point, like Chris Duane, I'm done with the system. I'm out of the system. The only time I use the system is when I absolutely necessary have to, because other people are still using the Federal Reserve notes to settle their debt. So yes, we are kind of stuck in that quagmire. But I'm looking for options, and I believe I've developed a very good one for people that are willing to and wanting to get the hell out of the system. It's a good way to do it. I know it works for us, but then again, I'm really biased. I am a dealer. I'm trying to get you to buy and sell from me at all times. I'll put that disclaimer out. And I'm not a financial advisor. So please don't let anything that I say be construed that way. I'm only sharing with you what I've learned, what I've developed, and what works for me.
Well, I mean, in personal experience speaks in volume. If you are utilizing your own product, then that tells me a lot. And I think that people respond to that. I believe that there are a lot of people that are looking to make some changes, make some real changes in their life, and that are sick of the, this fraud, blood-soaked fiat, Federal Reserve note disaster. I mean, it's theft. Yeah. It is. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, every time that we use it, it's theft, and they're stealing our wealth from us. You're going to have a new account. I can tell you that right now. After this call, I am going to set up an account with you. So
wonderful.
I want
Welcome
people
aboard.
I want people to know that. I wrote an article about 3 weeks ago called "Breaking Away from the System." In that article, I was questioning the readers, as far as what are you doing to to get away from this system? What are you doing to better yourself, to better protect yourself, your family, your community? What are you doing? Well, this is one of the things that I can do that I know will put my family in a better position. Because if I'm getting away, the fewer dollars that I generate, because it is a debt-based instrument and there has to be a debt in order for me to use a dollar. So the fewer of them that I generate, the less debt that I generate. So
Agreed.
my debt footprint becomes much smaller, and that is part of it's a part of the solution. With the problems that affect our lives every day, the national debt, higher taxes, all the time, inflation running conservatively at 7%. Are more people getting involved with precious metals? Is that part of your business? Is it growing, Dale, or is it
exponentially over
really?
my 35-year journeyman jeweler business that I've had since 1985. I've been in the trade since 1978. I'd say the first year I probably, as a bullion dealer, did the same amount of volume as my jewelry business of 35 years. By the fifth year, it is 100 times more volume. Now, granted, the profit volume isn't there as well as my jewelry business because of my unique ability to do a lot of custom design. I get, pretty good pay for my talents and abilities, but I really see this as something that can benefit the whole, as in the whole world or the whole nation. We got to have alternatives, and this is one way that we can get back to our roots and our foundation.
Get no argument from me.
Yeah.
And do you, regarding the precious metals backed debit card, I mean, where do you see the market headed from here? I mean, we've got Bitcoin, we've got these other cryptocurrencies, which to me are just another form of digital currency. I mean, that's all that it is, in my opinion. But that's a story for another day. But where do you see this aspect of it, the precious metals backed debit cards? Where do you see that market headed?
Right now, 99% of my clientele are stacking. They're building their position. So I have 1 to 2% of my clientele that have been doing this for a while and that are actually, have cards issued. A lot of them are pretty savvy. They don't want to lose any value or any kind of capital loss, so they're not using their cards as much.
Okay.
A lot of them just use it to maintain it still works type thing, which is fine. Because I really want people to check this out. I know it's not going to, fit everybody's bill right now, but for future use, being able to have something that's secure, as in no commingling of funds, fully insured while it's in our custody, and then for transparency, we also have a monthly audit that goes out with our statement each month. I call it my clean bill of health, to let you know that we're not a banking as normal leveraged, fractional reserve, loaning, leasing, hypothecating, rehypothecating. I don't know how many other management manipulated conspiracy terms I could use, but
I think you've covered the bases.
Yeah,
But you're not doing any of that.
No, we're strictly 100% collateralized, as in if there's 10,000 ounces of client's metal here, we have 10,000 ounces of client's metal.
And you do a monthly audit on each of on each account?
Yes, we do. At this time, time constraints and volume-wise, we're at a monthly. As we grow and need more oversight, we'll definitely up that to maybe, if need be, once a week, once a day, whatever it takes, depending on how many branches we get out there going. We see this going much bigger than just me sitting here in my office talking with Rory about how this can work for you and I of simpler minds, I guess.
Yes. Well, and that's good, because that leads me into, with Arizona and I believe Oklahoma. I know Arizona recently signed into law the use of precious metals as currency. Utah, well over a year ago, if not closer to 2 years. Are any states or local governments, is anyone reaching out to you at this point for assistance with setting up a system?
Well, not so much as setting up a system, because we're using the systems that are in play.
Okay.
Our Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, as I mentioned before. and then also the banking system that's already up and running. We're not trying to go out and create a new wheel at this point. Now, if that were to come down, as I've been working with some of my local state legislators on banking issues of sound money and principles and things like that, yeah, I've been in contact locally. I've had a few conversations with Larry Hilton out of Utah. I've sent out emails to all the Arizona legislators that were in on the bill, the sponsors and the co-sponsors to that bill for Arizona, but I've not had any return or any any response
Okay.
from that. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of disappointing, but maybe they're still just trying to figure it out themselves.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe they're actually reading it.
maybe they are. Yeah, yeah. Maybe
Maybe
they're
they're
reading.
reading the legislation that they just passed.
Yeah, yeah. That would be a bonus, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be different.
It's pretty amazing though that for our government, as in the federal government, there's only five, maybe 600 people that have the influence to create the things that we've been subject to for the last 100 years, and they just don't seem to care, in my estimation, my humble estimation, that what they're doing is wrong. I just listened to a 12-year-old girl from Canada. It's been on the internet. I think she's got over 1 million views now. She was at a debate in a banking scenario up in Canada, and she laid it all out. A 12-year-old. Google it. A 12-year-old speaks about banking. Oh my gosh. It's so true what she's saying. And it brings it down to a 12th grade, and a 12-year-old can understand it. And I recommend anybody follow that up.
Is this a new video?
No, it's from, let's see here. I'll tell you exactly here. 2011 or 2012.
Yeah, I've seen that actually, and it is very,
Yeah,
very good.
Girl Speaks on Debt. It's on YouTube. Can't miss it. I mean, Victoria Grant is her
Yes,
name. Victoria Grant.
yes,
April 27th, 2012, at
I've
Public
seen that.
Banking of America conference.
Yes, highly,
She can
highly
explain it.
recommend.
Yeah, highly recommend. She explains it so well that I get tongue-tied, just trying to explain what she's trying to explain.
Well, I mean, and it's she puts it in simple enough terms to where any legislator should be able to understand it,
Exactly. And or we the people,
or
because
we the
really
people,
that's really what we got to get back to is we the people.
we the people.
We the people have the right to use our constitution
Well,
to the best of our ability.
to the
And really
best of
that's
our
all I'm
ability.
trying to do is use what is has been so uniquely constructed in the beginning of our nation and stick to it. I mean, I can't make it any more simpler.
I mean,
You know?
and everything is spelled out right there, and I believe it's 18 pages, as the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Affordable Health Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is over 20,000 pages. Now, if something as great as the Constitution and Bill of Rights can be written in 18 pages, why can't any law? I think that it should be that any law or act or bill that goes before any legislation, state, local, federal, should be required to be 20 pages or less. Because if we can have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in 18 pages, then any law, act, or bill should be able to fit within that same mold. You
You would
know,
think so.
and I'm giving them a little bit of fluff. So, but have you challenged anyone to help or build for themselves a system that would work alongside the Visa Mastercard system in order to make a complete break from the system? Would anyone out
Yeah,
there? Is it so? Is there so there are people that are willing to work with you or anyone to help to create a network that could be seamless with the system that's currently in place?
yeah. There are a lot of different bartering avenues out there that are attempting to do things. I know Utah, they're attempting to put together their own network, but it's very difficult because of the way they've constructed the laws, the rules and regulations to be complicit and compliant in banking. They've pretty much sewn up the monopoly. I mean, it is really hard to operate outside that system to any degree of accuracy, success, or, I guess, exposure. You can do a lot of local stuff, but then to try to do international, there's way too much groundwork to be done. I don't see that happening.
Okay. So what about, now you said international, what about a national? Or do you just see it simply morphing into local and regional settings?
I think a lot of that depends on the chaos to follow once this thing starts to come. Well, it's already starting to come unglued.
Yes.
Completely comes unglued. I'm kind of in that wait and see, because if the banking system goes down, our debit cards go down with it. There's nothing
Yes.
that we can do to make them work. That's why I still recommend, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And the only time you should be using or even consider using our system or something like our system is when you need to use your metal for money to be safe. And it's kind of like your paycheck. You may put most of your paycheck in your checking account, but you try to put some in savings for a rainy day, that kind of thing. That's the way this system's kind of geared. Is we're using metal each day, but yet we still have metal on account. And I really like the analogy that metals are condensed labor, store of value, condensed labor.
Yes.
So you don't have to use it today. You can use it in the future. And your money's your wealth. You got to take care of it. And the only way to do that, I believe, is you got to physically hold it and secure it, preserve it, protect it.
Preserve and protect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what do you think? What do you think is going to happen with the end of the London silver fix coming
Oh,
on
yeah, that
August
was
the
pretty
14th?
interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, well, speculation can, be worth a dime or be worth $1,000,000, but it just depends on who steps in and takes the place. Are we the dealers? Are we going to be setting the prices locally? I don't know. That's a great question. I look forward to having to figure that one out also.
Well, I think that, when you're talking about the Rothschilds, Barclays and these other banking dynasties
Yeah,
stepping away and saying, well, we're not going to do that anymore, that just automatically sends up a huge red flag to me,
yeah.
because
Well,
that just means that there's something coming behind it. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
that's right.
And what's coming behind it? I don't think they're going to relinquish any control.
Not if they don't have to.
Exactly. They make way too much money off of it.
Well,
So,
it's even beyond the money part now. It's really a matter of the control part when you get into the upper echelons of what we're talking about. It's the money isn't the issue. It's how do I control the populace to keep doing what they're doing, and so I can continue,
yeah.
Being in charge.
How do we get out of this federal debt-based Federal Reserve system? And will the states have to legislate, as Arizona and Utah have done, in order to override the Federal Reserve Act? Is it going to be a state by state, or how do you see that playing out?
Wow, that's a great question. I'd have to say that it's probably going to start in the grassroots as it has already in Utah, Arizona. I know our local legislation is really striving to come up with a bill that brings back sound money also. So I think it's going to be a state-to-state issue first. And we, the people, are going to have to just elect and or re-elect the better people that are on the same page as our Constitution.
Yes.
Of our republic, and get back to what we were once. I don't know, when the transition was so slow before I was really even a twinkle in my dad's eye, to the point of now that I'm 50, I'm looking at this going, dang, this has been such a slow train wreck that it's going to be so hard to unmangle the rails from the engine? I don't know.
Yes.
That's a great question, Corey. I wish I had a more solid answer, but I just don't know.
Well, see, and personally, I think that it is going to go state by state. There are several states that currently have legislation in one form or another on the floor, and I
Right.
believe last count there was like 10 or 11 states, maybe a few more than that. But I know that there are a lot of states that are looking at and questioning the whole Federal Reserve note, the debt based Federal Reserve System, and the just the outright theft that's
Well,
going
yeah.
on. I mean,
And
because
if
that's what it comes down to.
and if you look around the world, they've known it forever too. And now that their backs are against the wall, they are going back and or never left the gold standard.
Right,
They're just making it, hey, US dollar, you're gone. We're
right,
not going to use you anymore. So why in the world would we as a people want to follow that broken, fraudulent system?
right.
Wake up,
Wake up,
people, wake up. As old
please.
Earl Pitts would say right before Paul Harvey, wake up, America.
I mean, in Zero Hedge released that article on the 14th. That Russia holds a de-dollarization meeting in China and Iran,
Yeah,
willing to drop the dollar from bilateral trade. That is a game changer, in my
it
opinion.
really is. Yeah, and the world's doing it, so why shouldn't we, people?
Why shouldn't we?
I
The
know I
whole
want to be, I want to support our nation and our troops and all that good stuff, but if we're doing something fraudulent and wrong to the world and humanity, come on. Get us out of these wars. We don't
get us,
need them.
yes, that's a big one. Get us out of these wars. Well, Dale, I certainly appreciate your time, and I really appreciate what you have going on. I'm speaking with Dale Olmstead of Precious Metals Bullion and Vault. And Dale, if you would tell people how they can get in touch with you, and we'll provide some information in the about section about how they can get an account going. So, but how do we
You
get in
bet.
touch with you?
You bet. You can reach us at PMB-V, that's Paul Mary Bob dash Victor at hotmail.com. Again, it's PMB dash V at hotmail.com.
Okay, and I'll get all the information as far as the forms and everything, so that people can see them, and then they can contact you, get an account set up, getting some real money flowing through the system. That's
And
all
if
we're
I can help
asking.
you do it, or if I can help another bullion dealer do it, I'd be open to any kind of negotiation. I want this thing to fly. I don't want to be the one in charge of it. I just want it. I really want to let it loose, but I got to have some parameters built so that we don't get taken advantage of like our system is now, where
Exactly.
there's leverage, all that stuff going on.
Yep.
So yeah, we want to keep it, like I said, clean and pristine the best we can, and if that means working with each individual on a one-on-one basis, that's what I'll do, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. I like it. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly appreciate everybody tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please share, comment, let us know that you're out. Let us know that you're out there. But otherwise, Dale, I will speak with you very soon, my friend. I really like this, and I really like what you're doing. And once
Well,
again, I'll be in touch with you within the hour, and we'll get
it
get an account set up.
sounds good, Rory.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too.